Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi video. This is Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we've been demoing this great little hover plugin here. It's called Divi Image Hover Effects, and it really is a fantastic plugin. I think they've got over 250 of these sort of image to text and image swap type effects, and they really are fun. I bought this plugin. I'm going to be using it a lot. But Divi's come quite a long way, and you can actually create some great hover effects just using the Divi theme's inbuilt features yourself. We've been building a few of those, and today we're going to build this one that kind of scrambles the text in. It's an image right there that we're looking at, the guitar one on the bottom left here. Then when you hover over it, it's sort of got a purple background, and the text sort of scrambles in. When you let go, it scrambles back out again. That's a pretty eye-catching little effect. If somebody's mousing around your site and that happens, they're probably going to be looking at it. And it's really easy to do. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the visual builder. Once enabled, let's go down where we want to work. And what we've got going on here with a lot of these image swap and also text reveal plugins is I've got a row, the green module, with two columns in it. This is our first column, and that guitar image is actually in the first column. So I'm going to do the same for our one next door here. I'm going to go into the row. There's column 1, here's column 2 that we're going to be working on. And I'm going to give column 2 a background image, which is the one that we'll be seeing initially. Down to background, you've got color, gradient, image, or video. And of course this will work just as well with all of these. And I guess I'll use the same image as I used before. And you won't actually see this because this column has no height because it's got nothing in it. So I know it's there because there it is. But it'll appear when we start putting some content in. So let's save that now and save our row. Now let's add a module, and like I say, this will work with pretty much any module you want. You want to sort of keep it restricted to the size you want your image to be. But I'm going to use a simple text module right down the bottom there. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. There's some text in there. Let's just quickly turn it white. Little blue circle with a white brush on it. If you click on it, it'll take you to the design element for whatever element it's attached to. In our case, it was the text there. So I'm going to just turn it white so we can see it. That's a bit better. And that's all I'll do for the moment. Now I actually want to make our thing the height that we actually want it. And I can do this with a minimum height, or we can set the height itself. So we're still in the design tab. So we can go down to sizing, and you can set a minimum height by just dragging this down to where you want it. That's fine, but for the hover effect that I'm using today, I'm going to actually set the height as well. So let's round that down to 350 with the little arrows there. I'm going to make it there. So it's going to stay at 350, which is fine, which should be plenty to house our content in there. Now I want to sort of put this text in the middle and perhaps make it a bit bigger. So I'm going to use a bit of padding. Let's give it sort of 60 all around. So I'm still on the design tab. I'm going to go to spacing. I'm going to give it 60 pixels. Just put in the 60, it'll put in the pics. Hit the little chain, it'll do the opposite side for you, and we'll do the same with the left and right. Great, so that's given it a bit of breathing room, left, right, top and bottom. Okay, now I need to bring that text up in size, or to kind of where I want it when we're finished. So when they're hovering over it, it's not going to be there. When they are, let's see the finished sort of size. So we'll go to our text again. And let's go down to text size. Something like that. That's pretty much the size that I want when it's finished, but I can't read that too well. So what I'm going to do is also, while I'm in the text, put it in the middle. Obviously you do yours exactly how you want to. And I'm also going to put a background color behind it so we can read the text a little bit better, but I do want to see that image too. So let's go back to content. I'm just simply going to give it a color. You can give it a gradient or whatever you like, but I like to give it a color because I can bring the opacity down so we can see some of the image behind and still read the text nicely. I think that's pretty clear, and you can see that image behind there. So we're almost there. I want to push this text down just a little bit so there's similar top and bottom. So let's go back to our design and to the spacing again, to the padding. Let's up that to 70 top and bottom perhaps. Yeah, that's fine. Right, well, we need to make the magic happen. So what do we need to do to actually make this all happen? Well, it's really simple. Honestly, it's so simple. I'm going to go back into my text here, hit the little button. I'm going to go down to sizing. Now, common with most Divi modules, when you've got your dark legending here, you can hover over it and little icons will appear. If there's an arrow, there's it, click on it, and it'll give you the opportunity to set a desktop state. Basically, that's when your mouse is not hovering over it, and a hover state, which obviously is when your mouse is hovering over it. So when the mouse is not hovering over it, desktop state, I'm going to take the size down all the way to 1 pixel, which makes it virtually invisible. And then when we're hovering over it, I want it to be back up where it was, which I think was 24, was it? So hover, it's going to be that size. Desktop, it's going to be that size. Perfect. Now, when we're not hovering over it, we don't want to see the purple, and we don't want to see that little tiny text up there. So still on our design tab, I'm going to go down to filters, and if you've watched any of these before, I'm sure you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down to filters and to my opacity or see-throughness, transparency, and again I'm going to hit the little arrow, bring up desktop and hover state. Now when we're not hovering over it, I don't want to see it at all, so it wants to be totally see-through or 0. That's what I want to see. When we are hovering it, we want it to be fully visible, just like that. Great. So if we've done everything right, that should work, but it's going to work too quickly for me. By default, the transition time with Divi is 300 milliseconds, which is pretty quick, just under 1/3 of a second. I'm going to make mine a lot more than that, maybe 1.5 seconds even, for drama purposes. And so go over to your advanced tab and you can go to transition. Here's our transition duration, the time it takes to transition from one to the other. I'm going to ramp mine up to almost 1.5 seconds, something like that. And if you ramp it up all the way and it's still not enough for you, just type in whatever value you want there. I don't want any delay because I want it to happen as soon as their mouse hits it. And the speed curve that I like to use for this is ease in out. Play with these, they're subtly different, and in various situations they will work better some than others, but for my hover effects I usually use this one. Okay, well, if we've done everything right, we should be good to go. Let's save our changes, save the page changes, save draft or publish, and exit the visual builder. Now let's go down to our little image down here. There it is. And when I hover over it, as you can see, that text is kind of scrambling in there. And that's quite a nice effect. It's not really scrambling because it's the same text and it's the same letters in the same order, but they're growing, and so it's sort of filling the available space. So there you have it. There's how to create a scrambling in text image to text effect using the inbuilt features of the Divi theme. So I hope you've enjoyed that and found it useful. If you have, please ring the bell, give it a thumbs up, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and WebDesignAndTechTips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.